Hey everybody, today we are going to work on a 58-inch Samsung Plasma. I just showed you what the code was on it and the model if you want to go back and take a look to match it up to yours. But basically any Plasma TV is going to be somewhat the same when you take the back off. If it's small, big, it'll basically look the same. So this TV here died while the person was watching it. They had heard a small pop, and then the TV went out and there was absolutely no power to the TV. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the back panel off. So right now we're looking at the back, obviously, and you're going to be taking out all of these screws around the outside edge of the television, okay, all along these areas, just on the outside edge. Now there's a couple that you might not see down over here. There's one right there, and one right there, and there's one right there, and there's one right there. What we're going to do is we're going to turn the TV around. We're going to lay it down flat on this piece of foam. Then I'll remove the screws, and we'll take the back off, and I'll show you what that step looks like in a moment. Okay, so as you can see, the back panel is off. I've just set it up over there to the side, leaning away from me so it doesn't fall down on everything that I'm doing. Okay, so the first thing you want to look for, folks, on these Plasma is where the power comes in. Okay, on this TV, this is where your power cord normally plugs in and would go to the opposite end of the wall. So it comes through, travels through these wires, and the first place it has to distribute its power is to this board. This board here is the power board. And what I'm going to do is, this is going to be the first thing I test, is this board, because in most Plasmas this is the first thing to go. So what you want to do is you want to test these two fuses right here, okay, and that's done very simply. I'll show you in just a second. You're going to need something that can tell you ohms, okay, and I've got one right here. This one here is a little pricey. You don't need something this expensive. You can get one at Radio Shack for around maybe 20 bucks just to test your ohms, even cheaper. Okay, so I'm going to turn this down to the lowest setting on my ohms, and I'm on 2M right now. Okay, and I'm going to touch these together to make sure I'm going to get a reading first. Okay, so we touch them, and it changes down here, so I know I'm getting a connection. So it doesn't matter which side you do this to. You're going to come down to your fuse on one side and touch, okay, and then I'm going to touch the other side, and hold on, let me get them on there, and then I'll show you what I'm seeing on the meter, which is absolutely nothing. Okay, so I'm not getting a reading down there at all, and I just tested the other fuse too, and there's nothing in either of them. So what I did is I changed them and put in new ones, okay, just in case there was a power surge that came through and blew them. So I changed the fuses, I plugged it back in, and pop, they both blew again. So that tells me that there is something wrong with this board. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that there's nothing wrong with the rest of the boards that could have caused this malfunction. But I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to go on eBay, and I'm going to try to find a used board like this. But first, I'm going to take this one off and see if I can find where the damage is on the bottom side. What I'm guessing I'm going to find is maybe a warm spot where the board heated up. So in just a second, I will take the screws out and flip it around and show you what the bottom of it looks like. Okay, and here's how we're going to take the board off. First, we're going to remove all of the wires, okay, and on each one of these there's a little clip on the back side. You pinch and pick the plug up off. Okay, we're going to do it to that one, to this one, to this one, and this one. So there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 harnesses that have to be removed. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do, which I'll skip showing you, is taking out all the screws around the outside edge. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total. Okay, just put them off to the side over here when you're finished taking them off, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, all the screws are out. As you can see, they're in a pile. You can simply lift the board up out and set it down. And what I want to do now is flip it over and see if we've got any damaged areas or any hot spots on the board. Okay, and I can see right off the bat, this whole area right here, you can see it's discolored and it's kind of darkish, tannish, goldish color. That means it got hot through this entire area, and I'm guessing something is burnt out, probably down in through this area or possibly even over in here. So with that in mind, this shouldn't look like this. It should look like this everywhere. Okay, so something happened to cause it to fail. These are heat sinks. These are meant to distribute the heat off of the board, and there's 3 of them across here, so obviously something failed. So I'm going to take a chance, and I keep my fingers crossed, and I'm going to look on eBay and try to find a board. They're usually around $70 to $80, and hopefully I'll be back in a little while here and show you what the other board looks like. Okay, be back. Okay, I did find a new board on eBay. It was $75, including shipping. It came out of Kansas. Took about 4 days to get here, so this is really, really great. Now I just have to make sure everything's working. I have tested these 2 fuses, and they do work. This is out of a used television, okay? So mind you, I was worried when it came in that it might have the same burn spots, but as you can see by looking, this board is in so much better shape. The old one, you see where it got hot. The new used one is in excellent condition. Excellent. So I should get quite a bit of time out of this. I think the main problem this TV died was the gentleman that bought it at the store, but it was a display unit. He bought it right off of the wall. So you know in these stores how long these things have been running, from the time the store turns them on till they shut down at nighttime. So you're talking day after day, sitting right next to other TVs that are hot. I'm sure is what destroyed the TV. He only had it a year and a half, so his warranty ran out after the first year, and they wouldn't help back him up on it. So, you know, he paid $1,200, and unfortunately, you know, it was a loss for him. So hopefully I can get this going. So we're going to put the new board in now. I'm going to set it back in where it goes, and I'll just give you a quick demonstration right now. Just so you know, I'm going to turn it back over, and we're going to set it down right back in its old spot. Okay, we're going to hook the wires back up. We've got this blue one. Okay, we've got this long gray one, and don't worry about getting these mixed up, twisted. All the wires are fairly stiff, so they go right back where they need to, like this one. See, that's not turning the other direction. I can bring it right over and put it right down in. You'll hear it click. And then this one, and this is the last one. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to put these screws back in, because there are a lot of screws that go in these boards that make a ground to the board. Okay, so it's important to put the screws all back in before you even try to fire up the television. So I'm going to put those screws in, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, so the board is mounted back in. All the screws are back in. Should have been 7 of them. And I don't want to try to fire it up right now. I'm going to put the back panel back on first, because there are some televisions that actually need the back panel on to make a ground. I don't know if this model does or not, but anyway, I'm going to put the back panel back on. We'll plug the cord in, stand it back up, and we'll plug it in, and if things go right, it should start up. If it doesn't, then our problem actually wasn't the power board. It could be somewhere else that's causing it. So, but I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed and say it's that. So, let's see what happens. Okay, we got the back on. She's standing up, and now the big test. It's I don't know what this TV does when you plug it in, so we'll find out. Okay, I didn't hear a pop or get a red light. That's a good sign. Okay, we got a solid red light. Okay, I got the remote. Let's see what happens. Ooh, that sounds good. We got it. Checking for signal. HDMI. Okay, what it's doing now is this must be at startup mode. It's looking for a signal. There's nothing hooked up to it. So I would say that it's fixed. Once I get you know, the satellite receiver or whatever hooked up to it, my picture will come on. So that was it, folks. That was a fairly easy fix. You know, it didn't take too much in time, and I got a running TV. So I hope this helps you folks out. And if you have any questions, you can ask me down in the comments. And I hope this helps you out with your repair. Okay, we'll see you.